Guyana from coast to coast.
Demerara and Essequibo 99.1 FM.
Berbice 99.5 FM. Kaieteur Radio. This is the news on top of the hour.
Live from our studio in Georgetown.
Kaieteur Radio 99.1 FM.
Good afternoon. My name is Amrita Koshal, and it is now time for your main newscast. We will return with a rebroadcast of the Glenn Law Show after the news. In the headlines, ExxonMobil and Hess Corporation helping Guyana to manage oil resources. Loan company bids $24 million to design and supervise school project. Oil companies apply to reclaim $20 million from the Guyana Revenue Authority, according to the Auditor General's report. Guyana records 967 new COVID-19 cases in 24 hours. Guyana is still in the dark about suspected oil spill, says international lawyer Melinda Janke, and dilapidated house collapses and kills mother and 6-year-old child. Stay tuned for details.
Nothing in life is free, but the MyDigiCell app is. You don't need to be on a data plan to use the app. You can conveniently chat with Ruby or an agent for help. Check your account balance, activate a Prime bundle, or gift it to a friend. Send credit. Check the Georgetown and Berbice bridge schedules. Activate a roaming plan. Play Shake to Win for cool prizes. So don't worry about a data plan, buddy. Download the MyDigiCell app from the Google Play Store or the Apple App Store today. Digicel, better together.
And now for your news in detail. Hess Corporation's CEO, John Hess, revealed on Thursday that his company and ExxonMobil Corporation are supporting independent work being done by an international group to help Guyana devise a developmental plan for the management of its oil wealth. Hess said the support is being provided to Michael Porter of the Harvard Business School, who is part of a team in Georgetown for a project called the Guyana Development Initiative. According to Hess, the developmental plan will help Guyana enhance its human capital through healthcare and education and its infrastructure. Already, Hess disclosed that it is partnering with Exxon also to provide support to help Guyana build an electric plant using natural gas that has been discovered in the Stabroek Block. Moving on, there has been a plethora of commercial activities directly and indirectly related to the nascent oil and gas industry in Guyana, and as with any other business that attracts the use of the VAT system, this would also apply to operations in the industry. To this end, the Auditor General found that applications for VAT refunds by companies in the oil and gas sector to the Guyana Revenue Authority for the year 2020 amounted to $3.7 billion. This, the Auditor General said, represented claims from 61 companies in the industry. In addition to the $137 billion in tax waivers and concessions handed to the industry for the period 2019 to 2020, for the latter year alone, 61 companies made a request to reclaim an additional $4 billion. Moving on, we now tell you that a mother and her 6-year-old daughter were pinned to death when their Bonasika Creek Essequibo River home collapsed Wednesday afternoon. The victims have been identified as 35-year-old Simati Chandra, a farmer, and her 6-year-old daughter, Christine Sugdio. Police said inquiries disclosed that Chandra and her daughter lost their lives after the house they lived in collapsed while they were underneath feeding their puppies, pinning them to the ground in the process. Reports are that the mother and daughter were under the house feeding puppies when the house collapsed. The deceased resided at the said address with 2 other children and her 45-year-old husband, Tulsiram Sugdio, who had left home about 15 hours 50 on Wednesday to burn bushes on another plot of land 2 lots away. Moving on with the Omicron variant likely in Guyana, Minister of Health Dr. Frank Anthony on Thursday reported that the country has recorded 967 new COVID-19 cases, while announcing that the new cases derived from 3,226 tests. Minister Anthony, during his daily COVID-19 update, said the new figure now pushes the country's active cases to 3,481. Since the start of the new year, the country continues to see a surge in new cases. From January 1st to date, approximately 2,816 persons have tested positive for the virus. On January 1st, it was reported that a total of 206 cases were recorded. On January 2nd, a total of 281 were recorded. On January 3rd, 98 cases were reported. January 4th, a total of 485 were recorded, and on January 5th, the ministry recorded 779 new cases. And we now tell you that, according to international lawyer Melinda Janke, who has been championing environmental issues locally, is seeking answers from the government as well as the EPA on the oily substance that was found offshore Guyana late last year. The issue was first reported by fishermen plying their trade in various points of Guyana's exclusive economic zone. Natural Resources Minister Vikram Bharat had dismissed claims about a week after the reports surfaced, saying that he was confident the substance was not oil, even though no analysis was done. It is in this regard that Janke is questioning the dismissal of claims by the fishermen. She is adamant that such serious matters must not be easily shoved aside. In fact, she argued that the minister ought to keep quiet rather than share information with the public unsupported by evidence. And in other stories, during the opening of tenders at the National Procurement and Tender Administration Board office on Thursday, it was revealed that Marcel Gaskin Associates was the only company to put in a bid to design and provide supervision services for the reconstruction of the section of the North Rheinveld Secondary School that was destroyed by fire last year. The company submitted a financial proposal of $24 million to MPTAP to design and supervise the rebuilding of the section of the school. The section of the North Rheinveld Secondary School was on June 19, 2021, destroyed by a fire. The entire upper flat of the section of the school was demolished by the blaze. Back with more news in detail. With Region 10 seeing a rapid increase in COVID-19 cases, Regional Chairman Darren Adams has flayed the COVID-19 task force for displaying double standards when it comes to approval of social events in the region. Adams was directly referencing several parties that attracted thousands of people in Linden over the weekend, particularly the Cooler Fete. This party was held at the residence of Kashif Mohammed, chairman of the Sports Commission. The party had thousands of persons in attendance and went beyond the curfew hours without intervention from the police. Adams is also urging young people to think of their family when socializing. Meanwhile, with the region recording 82 new cases as of Wednesday, Regional Health Officer Dr. Gregory Harris said that the region saw a rapid increase in cases following the holiday season. Moving on, the benefits, health and otherwise, due to Guyanese staffers employed at the Guyana Embassy in Paramaribo, Suriname, are in jeopardy, a situation flagged by Auditor General Deodat Sharma. In his report for the period concluding December 31, 2020, Sharma found that the embassy ceased deductions from salaries for employees' pension and medical insurance contributions from May 2020 due to changes in Paramaribo's banking system. As a result, employees commenced providing their contributions in cash to the embassy. The embassy pays over the pension contributions monthly to the relevant agencies. It was found, however, that the medical insurance contributions are kept by the embassy for 6 months, then paid over to the relevant agency, since the insurance company requested payments biannually. And we now tell you that the National Data Management Authority, which was recently in the spotlight for its weak systems control, as flagged by the Auditor General in his 2020 report, has taken steps to boost its cybersecurity. In its bid to beef up its systems, the NDMA is seeking more than 10 technical staff, including an assistant information communication technology engineer in its cybersecurity department, assistant ICT engineers for web and email, software-defined data center, as well as software and web developers, among others. We were unsuccessful in our attempt to get a comment from the officials at the Data Management Authority. We now turn your attention to page 7 of the Kaieteur News, dedicated to being blunt. Guyanese should be thankful that there is a supreme being who has our best interest at heart. Were our lives dependent on those elected to govern us today, we, without a doubt, would have been doomed. But thankfully, the Creator doesn't sleep. As such, we at this publication are of the firm belief that the people of this nation will not remain in slumber while foreigners plunder our wealth, aided by our leaders. With the life we have in our being, let's fight for our rightful place as citizens of this dear land. My name is Amrita Koshal, and this was your main newscast right here on Kaieteur Radio.
Want value for your advertising dollar? Then place your ads on Kaieteur Radio's newscasts. Streamed live on 6 different mediums, reaching hundreds of thousands. Advertise today and watch your dollar grow. Call us on 225-8465 or 226-8210 today.
Fellow Guyanese, after the newscast at 12 noon every day, I am dedicating some clips with extremely important information pertaining to Guyana's future. Please, I beg you, take some time and listen to them. It is for your interest and future generations. This is a message from Glenn Lal saying thanks for listening to the Kaieteur Radio 99.1 and 99.5 FM.
Guyanese, ExxonMobil from 2015 to now has been consistently proud to announce oil discoveries in Guyana. The consistent oil finds is so sweet for them that the country manager had to say that the level of success is not normal in oil exploration. 2 days ago, they were boasting of 2 more oil finds in the Stabroek Block. On the same day, in the gold industry, OMI also boasted how they find 1.6 million ounces of gold in our back dam. That's $3 million American dollars. Both discoveries, Guyana, happened on the same day. One boasting about US billions in our oil fields, and the other one boasting about US billions in the gold fields. Brothers and sisters, foreigners being allowed to come into our country, your country, boasting on our wealth. What are your leaders boasting about? Do you really understand Guyana? What is going on with the Guyanese people's wealth? They are even more happy than the foreigners to announce to us, the citizens. Yes, the people's oil and gold finds. They are proud to tell the nation the amount of billions in gold and oil the foreigners will be fetching out our country. Let me ask, what are they telling you about your belly, about your pockets? This is not sad, Guyanese brothers and sisters. You really have to help me wrap my head around what is happening in this land with our wealth, with our resources, and with our future. I hope you guys understand what I'm saying here. Africa, just around the corner from Guyana, with these short-sighted, incompetent and corrupt leaders at both ends and on both sides. Guys, let me break it down a little more for you. Can you imagine your dad coming home every day for the last 20 years and reporting to the house how much gold your neighbor find in your backyard? Them building mansions, buying fleets of luxurious vehicles, living like kings and queens off your wealth from your backyard. And your old house continues to leak. You are struggling to feed your family. You riding bicycle and driving donkey cart. And your dad happy to announce every year how much gold the neighbor finding in your backyard. You understand what I'm saying, Guyana? And when the children of the house complain of not having shoes or uniform or bus fare to go to school, or don't have biscuits to put in their lunch kits, man, you daddy saying he not getting enough money from the neighbor. You got to live within your means, the daddy telling y'all. But the poor children don't know that a dad is lying in bed with a neighbor, getting your own sweetness and satisfaction while the family is suffering. It's sad. What a beautiful and extremely rich country Guyana is. But our leaders continue to dance with these foreigners and have their citizens going into Chinese restaurant, buying dark food, begging the people to put a fork in the bag. Should I say more? This is a message from Glenn Lal. So take your telephone. Good night to all of you, Guyana. I love to listen to that video, that speech we just played on the radio there about the three types of people in this world. The idiots, the tribes people, and citizens. We need more citizens in Guyana, just like Suriname. We need leaders to become citizens, just like Suriname, who looks out for the best interests of their people. Once again, good night, and let me begin my presentation tonight. Tonight, I'll be comparing Guyana and Suriname. What Suriname got from their oil wealth as to what we, Guyana, settled for. I am so happy that we were able to know what they received so that our leaders can correct the situation we find ourselves in. Too many countries, Guyana, have lose out on their wealth from lack of knowledge.
most of the Asian, African, and Arabian oil-producing nations suffer terribly with their oil companies, leaving hundreds, if not billions of people in extreme poverty. TNT, our neighbor, made some terrible mistakes after almost 100 years in this business that led them where they are today. Them could have become bigger and better than Dubai, than Tokyo, than Kuwait. But is the but with the leaders. The Prime Minister said Trinidad and Tobago were losing billions through their fingers while they were sleeping at the wheels. I love that. In Guyana, our eyes are wide open, still awake, and billions are slipping through between our feet and hands in front of our eyes. And we, hearing nothing, not a single word from our leaders. Guyana, brothers and sisters, it is very clear something else is going on here with us and our oil wealth. What I have been seeing in this land and what is going on with our wealth, let me be very frank. I am convinced, Guyana, that the PPP and the PNC is on a fast track to sell out our resources and fill their pockets. And now, them heading full speed to sell out the whole country with me and you inside. Please listen how our leaders running the affairs of this country called Guyana, as to how Suriname, our next door neighbor, runs theirs. Guyana discovered oil in a very large block, the Stabroek block, in 2015. When that news broke, every Guyanese I came across began jumping for joy. Them say, how all are we going to be rich overnight? Rich like you never dreamed of. Where are we today? How are you living? Are you living any better? Wow. 5 years later, Suriname discovered oil. That was only last year. Ours discovered since 2015. Guess the first thing them do? They put their oil blocks on open bidding process so that they can get the best price for it. Last year they put 8 of their oil blocks up for sale. What Guyana did with our oil blocks, our Kaieteur, our Kanji, our Stabroek, our Berbice block, our Demerara block, our Orinduk block, and the rest. What did they do with ours? They tell us they give it away. They want me and you to believe that giveaway thing. Wow. You guys believe that, right? We are idiots, right? No, I am not, and you guys are not. Suriname dictate that all the oil companies pay the cost for finding their oil. In Guyana was the opposite. We agreed to pay all the costs for finding our oil to ExxonMobil. That has led to hundreds of millions in US dollars. We are almost in $1 billion US to date, with more to come. And guess what, Guyana? We still checking the 460 million to see if it is correct or how much the oil companies inflate it. You see the smart leaders we have? Them got a lot of sense, eh? Suriname, them get 6.25% in royalties, while Guyana settled for less than 2%. You hear me, sir? 2%, less than 2% we get. Suriname gets 36% in total of royalty and profit sharing. Guyana gets 14.5% in royalty and profit sharing. If any profits at all come, you got to put in that. If not, you're left with 2% royalty. With those figures, Guyana, if you do the maths, Suriname gets almost 3 times more than what Guyana settled for. You hear me? Suriname demands full taxes from every oil companies, their subsidiaries, their subcontractors, their contractors, and every expat, every foreign workers, they demand taxes from. What happened in Guyana? Guyana waived all the taxes, not only in the profit oil, but also waived taxes on all the foreign and local partners attached to the oil companies. This Guyana, we can lose in the billions of US dollars. That is what Guyana losing out on, and which Suriname will capture due to their contracts. You hear that? Suriname can go anytime and access the oil company records, facilitates equipment. They can access any activities going on, their files, their registers, without any notification whatsoever. They can just walk in and say, we need to see this, we need to know this. Guyana, on the other hand, has to give 7 days notice to go to see the oil company's activities. Wow. We also have to give them 90 days notice in writing. You hear me, guys? In writing. When them ready for go check the records. And this can only be done once a year. Guess where the records are being kept, Guyana? Overseas. And Guyana has to pay to go there to inspect or to check it. Suriname documents are all being kept. All the records are being kept in Suriname. Wow. Suriname government demand that all the oil companies, listen to this carefully, They demand that all the oil companies submit a yearly report to them on all employees in the oil sector. They must be identified by their nationalities. They also demand that they submit a list of all their subcontractors and contractors every 3 months. Guyana does not know how much contractors or subcontractors working here in the oil companies. I don't think we know anything that is going on in this country where it comes to the oil sector. Nothing. We don't know anything, Guyana. And nobody is saying a single word in this land. Man, this got to be a free-for-all country. Anybody can come here and get escorted. Hear me carefully. Anybody can come here and get escorted by the police, like if them own this country. You try getting a policeman. Try getting a policeman to come when you're being robbed, or if something is being stolen from your property, and see what the station tells you. We don't have police. You try to get a cop to come when you have an accident. You better wait there for hours before you can get somebody to come, if they do come. But these oil players, these oil contractors are being treated like royalty. It is happening every day and every night with these contractors. Look, travel around Georgetown and you will see how these oil equipment and these oil containers are being transported. They are being escorted by police vehicles back and front. And guess what, Guyana? Guess who would be paying? Guess who is paying for those police escorts? Yes, me and you. Our money, our profit oil money, and the taxes that has been waived, our money, that those payments are coming out. So whenever you drive the road and you see a police escorting a container, know that your money is going there to pay that policeman. You try get a policeman to escort you at the bank, and you will see they'll tell you they don't have. Suriname, hear more. Suriname demand that the oil companies use their best effort to train their citizens in the oil industry on technical, administrative, executives, and management positions. You hear that? That's what Suriname demanded from the oil companies, to train these people so that they can fit in to these positions. What Guyana demand? Hear what Guyana demand. Who are Guyana demand, and who are the oil companies training? May I ask? I should ask the question. Who Guyana training? They are training Guyanese for scrub them toilets, pick up the garbage, clean up the mess in case of an oil spill. And they are also training our sisters, our wives, and our mothers to become babysitters and housewives. That's the kind of training oil companies and oil players, contractors and subsidiaries are doing in this land. That is what our leaders have settled for and encouraging oil companies to do to us. No training in any high-level jobs, in nothing. You're being trained to do the cleanup, the wash-up jobs. Yes. Yes. Find out if any Guyanese working in any high-level job in any one of these oil players in Guyana. None. Suriname dictate that they must use all goods and services produced and available in them country over foreign products. You hear that? They must use everything produced and available in them country over any importation. Guyana ain't even supplying a crapo or a frog or a piece of chicken to them yet. Down to water they are importing into this country. As for supplies, supplying Guyanese, wow, we are all sidelined for the foreigners, because none of us were trained, none of us were educated on what to look out for or how to prepare yourself. So when the people come in here, they just grab on to, they come and take up all the jobs. We just got to sit down by the roadside and watch the foreign players driving through and setting up facilities and factories, shore bases and supply centers. Them, the foreigners, doing that. Because none of us were told to get going, that the oil players out there will need this and will need that. So what that means, there's nothing for us. There's nothing for me and you. We have to settle for the low-end jobs. That slang, Mr. Jagdeo and the rest of the leaders love to repeat day and night. Jobs, jobs and more jobs. He says that all the time. That's a PPP line, Guyana. That's a PPP line. That's the leader's line. Just for make y'all feel good. Jobs is there. Jobs will be coming. What jobs these people talking about? 30 years. 30 years. Look back 30 years. And jobs still coming. They say jobs still coming in the bauxite, in our gold, in our timber. Every product we have, every asset we have, everything they do, first thing they said jobs coming. I remember when they built the Marriott, they said jobs coming. They had all the Chinese people working, making down to the fence. The airport is the same thing. Every project they embark on, they say jobs coming. What kind of jobs you getting? What our brothers and sisters got? You do the maths. Or ask them in the PPP and the PNC. Ask them, Guyana. Suriname demands competitive bidding process on every oil project to be done between contractors and subcontractors so that their citizens can compete and not left in the dark. them must be able to get in on the contracts and also prevent the oil companies from robbing Suriname. What it mean? Oil companies can just wake up every day and say, Michaela, you take this contract, and Glenlal, you take that contract, and the price is so and the price is so. Now, when they do that, they give them own players, and they all make the money together, so that Surinamis can't get nothing, and they can be robbed. But if you include the Surinamis to bid with the foreigners, you're able to understand and control the cost and the spending. You hear me? It must be done so that everybody can see and able to understand what's going on. Yes, Suriname put that system in place for their people. Guyana, on the other hand, doesn't know what has been going on with anything, and who is getting what, and what is paying for what. So what going on in Guyana? What is going on here, guys? We don't know what, where, we knows nothing in this land. What is going on? All Guyana is told is bills. Receiving bills, bills for payment without having a say or have anyone of their people involved so that they can get a bite of the piece of the pudding. You know, Suriname uses all the communication networks. Listen to this, Guyana. Suriname uses all the communication networks, the TVs, the radio, social media, newspapers, to educate the citizens of Suriname about what is expected of them and update them all as to what the government is doing in their oil industry. What can be said of our PPP and PNC leaders? When last you hear one word in the last 5 years, going in 6 years, from any one of them on this massive oil wealth? And what are they doing for us? They are not saying anything, and they are not doing anything for us. You know, Guyana, many days I wonder if Guyana has a government. And if we do, then whose interests they are working for? Who are they looking out for? Me? You? Certainly not. Look, today we carry another story on the opposition leader, Mr. Joseph Harmon. He said since they leave office, he's putting together that oil conference to answer all the questions we have in the oil industry. I don't think anybody's seeing him around because we don't hear from him. He never answers his phone. I don't know where he is. Maybe you guys got to check and see if your opposition leader is the opposition leader in Guyana or some other country. These things makes me want to laugh, Guyana. But when I look around and see how my brothers and sisters living, it just gives me more strength and wisdom to to jump on this radio just to educate you guys as to what is going on in this country. Listen a little more, please. Suriname prepared 260 of their local companies 5 years before they find oil, so that their citizens can be well prepared to participate and make money for themselves through the oil companies and the oil operations. 6 years after this country find oil, Guyana, who did our leaders prepare to partake or participate in our oil operations? You tell me. Nobody. Not a single soul. But look around and you will see foreigners from all over the world working and doing what you and me should have been doing to get a bite of our own cake. We are left in the dark. The coalition leaders train, yes, them train 200 people for clean up the mess in case of an oil spill. Man, everybody remember that. We had big pictures in the newspapers and speeches in the news about Guyana getting ready for this big, huge oil boom. As a matter of fact, they were so proud to showcase our people in fancy jumpsuits, parading the riverbeds out there. They got all Guyanese worked up. Yes, jobs. Jobs coming like raindrops for us, brothers and sisters. What else did you ever heard of them? What else have they done? How many others have they trained? And in what? Nothing. At least I'm in the newspaper business 26 years, every day, and I have never heard they train anybody else. And these, our leaders, are ever so happy to see all of you lay back in a dreamland. They are happy. Suriname has their citizens. Hear this one. Suriname have their citizens on board all oil projects, looking out for their country's interests. Who Guyana has out there looking after our interests? Let me tell you who we have there. The Jumbies we love to talk about, they're the ones looking out for our interests out there on the drill ships and on the FPSOs. Yes, we have Jumbies there, not Guyanese. Suriname has 20% participating interest on each oil blocks in its oil field. What Guyana has? Nothing. 0%. You guys hear me? Suriname have 20% participating interest on every oil blocks. Guyana has 0.00000%. Nothing. Suriname created a national oil company to ensure their people are ready for the challenges of the industry. But what Guyana did or has? Yes, nothing. Them hustling for bring gas to shore to set up a gas plant and not a national oil company to protect, to prepare Guyanese for a better life. Suriname leaves no stone unturned when it comes to securing benefits for their country. This is what Glenn Lal is not saying this. This is what the country's oil boss, his name is Rodolphe Elias, told the Kaieteur Radio last week in an interview with one of my journalists. The boss said when Guyana struck oil, Suriname automatically knew that oil would be found in their land as well. So what they did, them increased their participating interest from 10% to 20%. Guys, imagine them use our oil discoveries to get more from the oil companies. But we who discover the oil 5 years behind time still ain't yet asking for anything, for any renegotiation or for any better deals. In fact, we continue to give it away more and more, and by the billions of US dollars, by just accepting inflated bills. You hear this, guys? With the amount of oil Guyana found, the Suriname boss said he urged Guyana to get more of the pie. The man said to set up a national oil company and participate in the oil blocks. The man said, only then can we keep a close eye on all the costs before them spend. He said Suriname is doing that right now. They created the National Oil Company to represent the interests of the people of Suriname on all the oil producing projects. The boss said by doing that, they are able to question every single cent and challenge oil companies to justify their spending. Isn't that beautiful, man? Man, a market vendor knows these are things we got to do. But what Guyana does? Nothing. If we continue to not have a seat at the table, guys, we will continue to accept anything and everything. And we have to shut up and accept whatever thrown at us. That is where our leaders have us, all Guyana. What you say? You got to tell us something tonight. I have said a lot there. I've said a mouthful. So I'll be looking out to take your telephone calls. I need to hear from you. Don't call me on the phone. Let us have this frank discussion. Thank you. Knows we don't have any natural disasters upon we head, but he didn't spare we these human disasters we have for leaders. Look at them. Listen to all of them in the PPP, in the PNC, the AFC. They are all calamities and disasters with flowery and fancy words and languages coming from their mouths. When will we learn, brothers and sisters? When will your leaders wake up to this near-death situation we're in? Our lives are at stake, and I want you guys to get that very, very clear. Without full coverage insurance, or what the doctor called management risk toolkit in we hands. If we don't have that, we are all doomed. Could we open the lines, please? Thank you. Let's have the phone lines open. Guys, you can call us 226-7453, 226-7454, or you can WhatsApp or call the WhatsApp number 622-2222. I am ready to have this conversation with you guys. I want to hear from you guys. Please. Do we have any? Well, then all Guyana is sleeping. Maybe they're in the blackouts.
I was just
The same blackouts. Yes. Mm-hmm. Yeah. Maybe all Guyana have blackout, and I'm speaking to myself and a few of us in here. Wow. Wow. Or maybe all GT&T black we out too. Yeah. But I'll still continue.
Caller, good evening. You're on to the Glenn Show.
Hey, good night, good night.
Good night.
Yeah, I listen to your show every night, you know, and I just enjoy what telling people because I think they find out the eyes and see what's going on. But for all of this thing that they're doing, these people like them are hearing what's going on.
Them what?
Like they don't listen. You know?
Well, I don't know if they black out the place or if GT&T black out the place.
But other one little thing to say, you know, is that it seems to me like Exxon and them come to collect the balance to them because we collecting 2% and they collecting 98. There's like storage fee.
Yeah.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
This are we getting storage fee?
Yeah. You're lucky you
good for storage fee.
Mm-hmm.
Because there's some backside time coming out to now.
We're not getting nothing from anywhere, my friend. Not from your bauxite, not from your gold, not from your timber, not from your oil, not from your diamond. Nothing you get in. And all of us sit down quietly and listening and believing in these leaders' words, their sweet talk, their fancy languages. And you and your children can't put biscuits in your lunch kits to send them to school.
So this why, you know what I mean, this why these leaders don't do what they want to do because we like those kind of people. We do it all, everything is laugh, you know. Mm-hmm. Nothing serious about what's going on, you know what I mean. I could tell you because as a taxi driver and I relate to them and tell them to come up on the program and